Alright, welcome back. This is part number 2, and we're going to be talking about compression. And I'm Rico, so you know what's going to happen. Nice. Here's our track. So this is what we've got done so far. We've got some subtractive EQ and got rid of most of the mud of the track. Still take a listen. It still sounds a little bit thick and muddy, but we'll fix this up. So, if we take a look at what's going on here, you notice that I've added a sidechain compression track. What I've done is I've taken the MIDI from the 808s and I've applied some sidechain compression to what's it called again? Our two bass tracks here and our gated pad. Now, they're not turned on yet, so this is just what we have with subtractive EQ. Let's pause this. And let's look at each track individually. Let's take this 808 here. This is what I've done to the 808. Now, what I'm going to do first of all, mute everything. And we'll get this 808 kicking again. Right here. Okay, here's the 808. Now, the first thing I've done with this track, I got a compressor here. Take a listen. Okay, what I've done is I've dropped the threshold to about -24, the ratio at 6, so it is pushing it pretty hard, and makeup gain of 15. So all I've done is I've compressed the peaks and I'm trying to raise the volume of the track. If you look here, it hits right away and there's a slower release time. So overall volume, I want this to be the length of the 808. Without it and with it. There we go. So I've tried to match the gain. It's pretty close. Now, the next plugin I've added in was Waves Low Air. What this is going to do is this is just going to bring out the sub frequencies a little more. Take a listen. There we go. Now let's got rid of some of the mud. Or after. There we go. We got the range set to 60 Hertz. And I'm adding about 5.1 dB only in that area. Good. Move this over here. Take a look at this. Now the next one is another Waves plugin called Max Bass. Okay, let's take a listen to this. There we go. So what I've done here is this is another sub-frequency bass plugin, and what I've actually done is I've set it to about -5.7 dB here. So without it, and with it, you got good speakers, you hear the difference between this. Okay, so this is what I've done to the first 808 track. Now, let's go to the second 808 track. We look here. I set up another compressor, a Waves C4. This is a multi-band compression. Okay, I'll turn this on. Okay, what I'll do first of all is I'll turn this one off so you can hear what's going on. Okay, now if you see here, I have 3 crossovers set up. I have one set up at 4500 roughly, and I've basically dropped it completely. Right here between 250 and that 4700-ish, I've also dropped it down about 7-8 dB. Yeah, here we go. Oh, 7 dB. And then here I've increased everything above 250, so we're getting mostly just the subs. So let's listen to it without it and with it. Excellent. Or after. Great. Now if we put those two together, okay, I'll drop this back down. There we go. Nice and thick. Beautiful. Okay, let's go to the next track, the kick track. Okay. This kick, all I've done, I've added actually no compression whatsoever. The sample was pretty decent. So I'll turn these off. Great. And I've added in some EQ here, compression. Take a listen to this. There we go. Threshold, -4-ish. There we go. Attack 3, ratio 6, release 200 milliseconds. So it's allowing the transients in here. It is compressing it pretty hard, right? The release time is fairly decent, catching everything. And I cranked the output ratio to 13. I've also set the tone here to be loud and for a hard knee. So it pushes it a little harder, gives it a nice sound. Together, all three of them. Good. Okay. Go to the snare track. A snare track, all I've done is I've added some compression. This is the one built into the DAW. I've increased the input to 31, the output to -24. I'm allowing some of the transients to come in. This is a very fast attack setting, and the release is pretty long. Take a listen to it. Good. I'll turn these 808s off for a while here. Okay. Good. Excellent. So let's go to our stomps. Okay. Number one, before we even hit the EQ, I changed this. Check out this app I have here, okay? It's an Ottawa. Your DAW comes built in with one. This is a third-party one. And what I've done is I've added the Ottawa to change the sound of this. Let me turn these up. Okay. Listen to this. Okay, so now it has this type of sound. Before, it was very harsh. There's so much low end and bottom end in this track already that really I needed something to add some clarity to it. So I figured this would work out very well. Now, with this, I've also just added some additive EQ here. 197 Hz, 930 Hz. Just to change the frequencies a little bit. Good, let me drop this back down. Good. Good enough. Great. Let's go to those hi-hats. I've added in some tonal EQ. Okay, I'll turn these up. Let's turn this app on. This is a Waves plugin, another tonal EQ plugin. Okay, so if we look here at the settings, a little bit of punch, a little bit of attitude, which is basically compression. The tone got lowered down a bit, and the volume is just peak volume there. If you look here, all it is I've added in some high EQ and rolled off the lows. That's it. Nothing special, just to make them push a little harder. There we go. Next one is the crash. Done the same thing with the crash. Turn it on. Okay. This crash, we look at it, little attitude, and lowered the punch, which is your compression. The tone, I've also lowered the tone on here. Highs and lows a little higher. There we go. Makes it a little brighter. Drop this back down. Beautiful. Okay. The gated pad. Let's have fun with this. We'll turn it on. Okay. See this compressor? This is the sidechain compression I set up earlier right here with this sidechain. You see the sidechain here, right here, gated pad compressor. I got it set to full input volume. Come back here. Listen. Hear that? Every time this 808 hits, now. It drops in volume. Good. Drop this back down. That should be good. Let's go to our whiny lead. I've added in some compression here. Let's look at our settings. -40 threshold, a ratio of 2. Soft knee here. +4 output gain, +5 output gain. All this is doing is making the track level of the volume. Pushes it a little bit to the front, which is what we want. Good. Next track. Okay, first strings. I've added no compression to this track. The only thing I've done is I've added some EQ. I've added some air, 15K, 4 dB at the top, and I've rolled back 100 just in case, right here, starts to peak out. There we go. Strings number 2. Let's open this up. Okay. There we are. I've added some more air, 15K, 1.5 I gave it 2 dBs, and at 400 I gave it 2 dBs. This is an actual patch that has the piano in there, so I want that piano to be a little bit in your face too. Now, we'll go to the last one, which is the trumpets. And with the trumpets, 10K at 2 Hz, 200 at 2K. And then at 800 I've added 2 dB, and at 300 I added 2 dB. There we go. Now if we listen to these by themselves, without, and then I'll add that back in. There we are. It just sounds a little bit brighter, not as muddy. Okay, so let's go to the vocal track. I'll turn this up for now. And all I've done here is added some more EQ. This didn't require any compression. Now if you look here, 12.5K, I've added 6 dB. At 3K I've added 4. And then at 50, -2. There we go. Beautiful. Let's back down. There we go. All together. Good. Okay. Bass track. Good. All I've done is added sidechain compression. You hear it ducking out. There we go. And then the last track here is the copy of the bass what I've done here is, with this track, I've added in some tonal EQ. Let me hear that here. There we go. Okay, this tonal EQ is a crystal algae bass patch from Waves. If you look here, I've reduced the treble a lot on it. I've increased some of the bass, slightly compressed it, the sub is up on it, and I have it set to roar distortion, so it's adding some distortions, faking it up, but because I'm keeping this relatively low in the mix here, I'm blending it in. That's a nice flavor. Beautiful. So, add those 808s. And this is our track so far. We're going to hit up the next session, which is modulation, saturation, and panning. I'm Rico, and I'm out. Later.